Kiwi, it's 20 minutes past 9 now.
The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
Game junkie Gerard Campbell.
The body of Jeremy Bowles was found this morning on a patch of wasteland in the East End at about 6:30 a.m. 5 days he was reported missing. An autopsy will be conducted tomorrow to determine the exact cause of death, but going from first indications, it would seem that he drowned. The state in which the body was found suggests the methodology of the origami killer.
Oh, golly gosh, I'm intrigued already. The origami killer. What could that be all about? Well, the name of the game we're looking at with Gerard Campbell, a game junkie at stuff.co.nz, is called Heavy Rain. And Game Junkie joins us. G'day there, Game Junkie.
Good morning, Wammo. Good morning.
Yes, now perhaps blurring the lines between movie and game.
Yeah, I think it is. Heavy Rain's going to be an interesting one, I think, because it comes from a French director called David Cage, who a few years ago did a game, I think it was multi-platform, called Fahrenheit, and he really treated it like it was a movie. You know, he didn't want it to play like a normal game, and even at the very start, when he started a new game, you clicked on new movie rather than new games. So he wanted to try and, I think, blur that line, and it was very sort of cinematic, even for those days. I played it on the original Xbox, so even in those days, he had lots of, and the stories seem to be very similar to between Heavy Rain and Fahrenheit as well. I mean, they both involve murders and murderers and intrigue and several people, and they use a lot of, both these games seem to be using a lot of conventions that movie makers would use, like, you'll suddenly get a split screen that you might see one of the characters who's trying to hide a body. You see on one side of the screen he'll be dragging the body away, and on the other side of the screen you might see a cop who's in the same diner that they're both at, getting up and heading towards the bathroom where the other guy is with the body. So it's using a lot of conventions, I think, that people commonly see with movies. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it blurs that line between movie-like quality and what we class as a traditional video game. Yeah, because isn't that's for some game makers, that's what they've been striving to achieve over time, and as graphics have gotten better, so has the ability to move around in environments as well. Do you think we're there yet? I don't know whether we're completely there yet, but I think we're certainly making really strong inroads, because for years, as you said, the graphics have been there, but often the story or the atmosphere has been lost. You can have a brilliant looking game that looks completely real, but if it hasn't got a story that engages the gamer, and if you can't connect with other characters, then I think we've still got a long way to go. So, but I think, like, we've had like games like Mass Effect has come up that you actually a strong part of it is that sort of character development and developing relationships between other characters. So we are getting there, and I think stories are now starting to come up on par with the graphic fidelity that we're getting. And I think, and hats off to David Cage with what he's doing with Heavy Rain and Fahrenheit, that he's actually trying to change, I think, how people play games as well. For those of us that have, you play first-person shooters or 3D, or, third-person action shooters, we all know to use on a controller, and then even on a mouse, but on a controller, your left stick walks you forward. You press the left stick forward and you walk. But with, with Heavy Rain, and because it's PlayStation 3 only, you actually use the right trigger. Holding that down, that controls your character's feet. So if you want to move, you've got to hold down that right trigger. And it's also got a lot of contextual interactive sequences, like rather than in a lot of games, if you want to pick up an object, press A, that'll pick up the object. Yeah. With Heavy Rain, you'll get and I think we saw it in part of the trailer there, you'll get say for example, if I can see the one that we're showing at the moment, that's a private investigator called Scott Shelby. I've played the demo. It's got two I guess, two characters from the game. Scott Shelby, who is investigating the origami killer, and to do things like get out of his car, you use the right stick, and a little icon pops up with an arrow pointing in a left or right direction, and you use the right stick, tip it in that direction, and that opens the door. And then if you want to pull money out of your wallet, you sort of do it in a cross and up sort of semicircular motion. So it's breaking those conventions from what we would usually, the usual control scheme.
It sounds like there's a bit of perhaps a learning curve, because it is so different in this particular game.
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, it does take a bit of getting used to using, to get your head around. You've got to use the right trigger to move forward, A couple of times playing the demo, I just instinctively pushed that left stick forward. Oh, he's not moving, only his head's moving, or, the left stick controls the direction that you're going to move. So it does take a wee bit of getting used to. And something also, too, that I think will take a little bit of getting used to, and this could be, there's the age-old argument, and I think Metal Gear Solid 4 had it a wee bit, was it a game or was it an interactive movie where, you participated sometimes? Because with the Heavy Rain demo that I played last night, Shelby gets into a fight with the client of there's a woman, I think she's a prostitute, and Shelby's going to her to get some information about the origami killer, but a client comes in and they get into a fight, but it's not press A, press S, press X to punch. It's a whole lot of quick time events. You've got to press a triangle now, you've got to press a circle now, you've got to move the left stick or right stick in this direction. So it could fall into that trap of it's just a whole lot of quick time events or contextual movements. So at this stage, it is a big gamble. It is a big gamble because it's taking away those traditional concepts that people know. Yeah. On playing games, and and it's not going to suit everybody. It's not going to suit. I think those really fast twitch gamers who've got to have blood and guts and gore and pull a trigger to fight that sort of thing. It's not going to suit. I think it's probably going to suit gamers who really want to get into in depth. And something that David Cage said about Fahrenheit when he made that was that he wanted to prove that there was more to video games than shooting aliens, with a gun and having to smash crates to get health and that sort of thing. So
it does. I think it does to me feel a little bit like an advanced version of those games where a character you could move a character around a static screen and interact with objects, and the basic premise was to basically find your way out of that screen really by solving puzzles, and this seems to be the next major step.
Yeah, it is. And I think this Heavy Rain's the same. You play, I think, 3 different characters throughout the progress of the game, and I'm assuming that they're all interrelated into this origami killer. But from things that I've read, there are a lot of mundane things in Heavy Rain, like in the demo that I was playing yesterday. This cop Shelby he's an asthmatic, and at certain points in the game, he has an asthma attack. So you've got to pull out his asthma inhaler, you've got to prime it up, you've got to take a couple of shots, and then that sort of thing. So where a lot of games you didn't have that sort of character depth, I think here it's a case that Cage is trying to create characters that you do see the whole gamut of the characters. This cop's an asthmatic. There's scar personalities. There's so I think it is taking it a step further on. That classic point and click adventure from the past, isn't it? That you explore your environment, interact with what's going on, and then it gives you pieces to the puzzle. But it'll certainly be interesting to see how the full game plays. Whether there's more depth to the character interactions, or whether it is, just press this button here, move here, search this, pick up that, talk to this person, or we're in a fight, press X, Y, left control stick, up, down. Will be very interesting.
When are we going to be able to find out? When's it coming out?
Heavy Rain is out on the PlayStation 3 only on, I think it's out on the 24th of February. So it's only, about a week away. But the demo is now out on the PlayStation Network. So I guess if, if people are unsure whether they think that it sounds like them, and if they've got the bandwidth or the data available, check the demo out, because that'll give a good indication on whether it's going to be for them or not.
Excellent.
Which is well worthwhile.
The game we've just been looking at or previewing as such, because it's not out just yet, but go and check out the demo. Heavy Rain, Gerard Campbell. You can find him on Twitter, twitter.com/GameJunkieNZ, and also at stuff.co.nz under the technology section in the Game Junkie blog there. Until next time, we'll catch you. See you.
A pleasure.